this brings us to Rita Moro Castro in Emilia Perez. We set up a little bit earlier who this woman is, and the journey to from being kind of underappreciated as a lawyer to being caught up in kind of an unimaginable scenario. For you, how did it begin? I wonder. Even again, having seen the movie now, it's hard to explain to people. So I wonder what it was, how it was pitched to you. And I mean that in the best way.
It's comedic. My agent, Ali Trustman, is here. I wish she can actually, recount just the day that they pitched me this. So Jacques Audiard goes to CAA with his new project that he's going to direct. They have a huge meeting. My agents run out and they start calling me incessantly. And I think I was with my children taking them somewhere, so I didn't really answer my phone. But then I look at my phone and I have like 50 missed calls and 10 text messages. We have this conversation. I just hear Jacques Audiard and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. They're like, but wait a minute. We got to tell you what this story is about. And they proceed to tell me it's this drug lord who has always meant to be a woman and, hires this professional lawyer, which will be you, to help him transition. And then you just have to make her disappear. And in exchange, you will have all of this and blah, 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 blah. And this is a musical, by the way, and it's going to be in Spanish. What? Yes. Everything about it was just so different. I was just curious. I wanted to hear it through Jacques' voice. I wanted to hear his words, and I wanted him to walk me through this. On the surface, that's what that film may sound like. Deep, deep down, it's about 4 women, very diverse women, trying to break their own mold and find their most authentic self, learn to love themselves, and find love. In the heart of it, it's just what this movie is. The backdrop, they find themselves in worlds that are unimaginably violent, incredibly sad, impotent worlds, and even though that has never been my life, I've known women that have grown up in these worlds, and I just wanted to be in their shoes for a journey and have Jacques Audiard guide me through it.
And we had Jacques here on Monday night talking about directing this movie, and to make it kind of extra crazy, even on top of just the unbelievable the way it all worked. So he doesn't speak English really or Spanish. So the way he was direct, can you explain just how you all communicated on the set?
I mean, sometimes with sounds. He's incredibly animated, and when he talks, he stutters a little bit, even as he's trying to talk in English. But it's also the same in French. He has to move and go smoke a cigarette every 3 minutes, but it has to do with the fact that all that energy, he's just trying to get it to travel all around him, and he's trying to put it out there. There is an incredible amount of emotion that he always felt around this story. It is a complicated story because we are really challenging ourselves to find a deeper meaning of what redemption may mean to you. It's easy to redeem someone that on paper has done everything right. That's easy. We redeem them and then we go home and we feel better. But when these people have a past that they cannot escape, are they worthy of redemption? Are they worthy of freedom, of finding their voice? And that's the challenge with Emilia Perez. And I accepted that challenge because Jacques Audiard challenged me in Rust and Bone.
Yeah.
He challenged me in Deep End. He challenged me in A Prophet. Every time I would see his movies, I feel like there was always a before and after for me. Viewing characters that I would either start judging and end up rooting for. And I felt that Emilia was going to be that because I found myself having a before and after with each and every one of these characters. Communicating with him was extraordinary. There were moments in which we needed assistance, but most of the time, we just relied on the unspoken word because we were synced. There was just a cadence, there was a frequency that we tapped into. There were moments in which I would finish a take and he would be looking at me from Video Village, and I'm like, I know. And that was it. And there were other moments in which I needed context. Or there were moments in which I would look at him and go, did you feel that? Or was it just me? He goes, no, I felt it. We were, and it wasn't something that needed to be understood more than it needed to be felt. With Emilia, to me, I just felt it. I felt Emilia Perez, and he did too. And so did Carla, and so did Selena, Adriana, Edgar, the whole casting crew, all the consultants that we had, all the Mexican dancers that flew in from Mexico to be a part of the Mexican choir that we also worked with, Camille, Clement, Virginie, everybody that was a part of Emilia. We just felt these women and we kept them in our hearts.
And it's, yeah. What's kind of amazing is that on, again, the kind of log line that we were just giving about this movie would not necessarily indicate this, but the when we really look at the role that you play in this movie, it's almost like it was the one that everything else was building up to, because you'd never been able to use your native language in a film ever, right? Before this, you had not danced since your first movie that people noticed you in 25 years ago. Singing, I don't know how much of that we'd ever gotten to
In
see
the
you
shower,
do,
that's
right?
it.
In the shower. um, you know, Sadly, a lot of the great movies that we've talked about tonight that were not franchise movies had not gotten seen enough. So I don't know that people necessarily knew that this is a kind of performance you would want to do, that you could do so well. I mean, I guess I just wanted to leave it there for you to talk about if I'm over analyzing it, or if it's sort of like you couldn't have designed a better, like, teed it up for you um, in a better way. And obviously you then had to knock it out of the park, which you did, mixing many metaphors here. Um, but just, yeah, I mean, it seems like it was kind of like, this is the role that you were meant to play.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I think timing also is very important. Had Emilia Perez come to my life when I was unprepared for it, I don't think that I would have been able to pour so much of myself into Rita. I needed to have more experience. I needed to feel safe, finally, in my own skin and in my own vulnerability. I think that that's something that I wrestled my whole life. And I always felt like I held back from all the characters that I've played. I've given them a lot, but I always held back. And with Rita, I didn't. And it was the most vulnerable I've ever felt, because this was a woman, a Black woman, living in a country where she feels isolated, underappreciated, overworked, burnt out. And still, she dreams. She dreams of being so much more. And I might have in my life felt strokes of what Rita goes through. And I was just too ashamed to admit, or too tough to acknowledge, and I was just exhausted. So Emilia Perez and Rita came into my life at a point where I was just tired of the facade, but also so hungry to continue evolving as an artist and grow. What is next? Is it done? I'm 46. What am I doing? Do I just, fulfill all of my franchise commitments and then come home? Or do I just go step into the unknown and just take that big giant leap? And I did it. And the biggest thing I needed to do was to not get in my own way. I didn't want to get in my own way. I wanted Rita to be me, and I wanted to be Rita.
It's such a special performance. People have been nuts for it since Cannes, where again the four of you shared the Best Actress prize. It's been just a very eventful however many months since then, and still going. But what it all comes back to is this incredible performance, which we are going to now take a look at.